Hello, adventurers, travelers, and friends, and welcome to a Braggworthy Adventures video. I'm your host, Rose. After getting married, graduating college, and getting my first big girl job, I thought I'd be living the American dream. I soon realized my desires were a little different. I wanted to travel around the world. With the support of my husband, Michael, we're making it happen. We're planning a 6-month trip to 12 different countries, and I'm using YouTube to prepare and document all of it. It will truly be a Braggworthy adventure. Today I want to talk about how to plan out where to go when. This has been something that's been on my mind since the very beginning. When I picked all my countries, I was trying to figure out if I want to go to all these places, how am I going to maximize my visit to this country? How am I going to know that I'm going at a good time? How am I going to order them? Where do I go first? Where do I go last? And I spent this Christmas sitting down with Michael and trying to figure this out. So I wanted to tell you what that process was like and the things that you want to think about when you're trying to order your long list of countries for your Braggworthy adventure. The first thing to think about is, why are you going to this country? What is your reasoning behind it? If this is one of the bucket list items that you've added to your list for your Braggworthy adventure, what is it that's driving you to be there? For instance, if you want to go to Japan to see the cherry blossoms, then you better go to Japan in the spring. In the fall, the cherry blossoms won't be there. So making sure you know when you need to be at the country for a certain event will help you out. For instance, I want to go to Africa for a safari. So when the animals are out is when I want to be there. The next thing that you really want to think about is the different seasons. So I live in America, and in America we have generally 4 seasons in most places. You've got spring, summer, fall, and winter, and they rotate that way. But other places in the world do not have the same sort of rotation. Some of them have 2 seasons, a dry season and a wet season. I personally do not like rain, so I don't really want to be in India during a monsoon. I would rather be there when it's drier, even if that means it's going to be hotter. So you need to look at the dates of when those seasons are, or what kind of seasons that country has, and make sure that you know when you want to go based on your preferences. Also, you have to think about seasonal traffic. For instance, when it is dry season in places like Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand, more people. It's around Christmas time. A lot of people take their vacations there. So sometimes you want to skirt the shoulder season. And the shoulder season is that time right in between the wet and the dry, where people haven't really gotten there yet, but the weather's still really good. Like, that's kind of the optimal time, because that's when most people can't travel. Another thing to keep in mind are what festivals are taking place in that country. So when I was researching Singapore, they have a lot of festivals going on. For instance, around the Grand Prix, it can be very difficult to get hotels. So you want to know what festivals are happening, even if you're not planning to be there because of that festival. Knowing that you are planning to be there in this month and checking what festivals are happening can help you avoid having an overcrowded situation that you didn't know you were going to be stepping into. So you want to make sure you know what festivals or celebrations are going to be happening at the time you're planning on visiting. So for me, the first thing I did was kind of take those 3 factors and chart it out for the countries I plan to go to. I used a lot of websites like the tourist websites to find out best weather. I use this Oddly, they're a travel advisor, travel agency, and they had these pages on countries where it would tell you best times to be there and show you amounts of precipitation and the average temperatures. So that was very helpful. I took all the countries and all the months that I'm planning on using. I'm also planning on being out in January, but I'll just be finishing whatever last country I'm in. And I scouted out when was the quote-unquote best time to be there. And I kind of marked that off. Now in my version, which is much messier, I cleaned this up for you guys. There's tons of notes all over about why it's the best time, or why it's kind of like shoulder season. So for instance, June, July has the most vibrant wildlife and dry beaches. It's the low season for Africa. So that's kind of the best time to be there. And I'm thinking I'll start my trip in Africa. Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand have dry season in the North American winter months. So like October, November, December, January, all the way till March. That's kind of dry season for them. And so October and November are earlier, and they're kind of better times to go than, let's say, December and January when other people are traveling. Singapore, I found interesting. They have a dry time, but it often has bad air quality because of fires. And then they've got a wet time, and they also have lots of festivals. So there's lots going on in Singapore. The more northern locations I'm going to, like Beijing, South Korea, Japan, they get cold in winter, and I don't want to have to bring a winter parka with me as well as all my other stuff. So I'm hoping to see them earlier on so that when it's more like December, January, I'm not freezing but cold. Whereas Australia and New Zealand have opposite weather to North America. So when it's our winter, it's their summer, and when it's their summer, it's our winter. So it's probably better to end in Australia and New Zealand. Now, I took these factors and I kind of marked where I think I should be, and then you have to look at it geographically. So I pulled out a map. I used AirTrek's travel planner actually, and I plotted in the major airports for these locations I was planning to go to try and see if my route made sense. If I wasn't going to be flying past 3 countries and then coming back to them, I just felt like that would be a lot of flight time and not a great use of my time. So after doing that, you can see the travel plan that we came up with. We decided on the following route. We would start in Miami, probably out of Miami International Airport. Then we'd go to South Africa for our safari. Following that, we'd go to northern China, South Korea, and Japan so that we get there before the snow. Then Taipei, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. Then we'd go to Bali and Singapore. We'd fly into Bangkok and then drive Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand. And then we would end in Australia and New Zealand. I hope you have good luck as you research where you should be when on your big trip. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to follow me on this epic adventure I'm going to be doing and see what it's like to help you plan your own. And as always, bye travelers.